Imagine you're trying to stop a massive norovirus outbreak in your house. And to do it, you're spraying the kitchen countertops with the exact same gentle liquid that an eye doctor uses to soothe the patient's infected eyelid.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds completely absurd when you put it like that.
Right. It sounds ridiculous. Because, when a stomach bug hits, the usual reflex is to basically suit up like you're entering a biohazard zone.
Oh, absolutely. You get the thick rubber gloves out.
Exactly, the gloves, and you grab the harshest, most aggressive chemical disinfectants you can possibly find under the sink, and you just start spraying everything, kind of just accepting that you might, I don't know, ruin the finish on your kitchen island or permanently crack the skin on your hands.
Right, because we've been conditioned to believe that, well, if a cleaning product doesn't burn our lungs a little bit, it isn't actually working.
Yes, the lung burn. But today, welcome to the deep dive, because we are unpacking an article by Nikki Chase from Aero Organics that, honestly, it challenges that entire paradigm.
It really does. Today's mission is to look at a substance called hypochlorous acid, or HOCl.
HOCl. Yeah.
And we're going to figure out why this matters to you, because we are looking at a broad-spectrum antimicrobial, meaning it targets viruses, bacteria, fungi, all simultaneously. But it does it without leaving any toxic residue behind.
Okay, but I want to jump right into the deep end here because I have to push back on the name of this supposed eco-friendly hero, hypochlorous acid.
The word acid throws people off.
It totally does. The moment you say the word acid, I'm picturing something highly corrosive. Like I picture something melting through the floorboards like the alien blood in that sci-fi movie.
Right, the xenomorph blood.
Exactly. Because if you pick up a bottle of standard household bleach, the ingredient list is usually like a whole paragraph of complex, harsh chemicals. So if this is an acid, what is actually in this stuff? Is it just tearing apart the virus's armor?
Well, the ingredient list for a standard hypochlorous acid solution is going to genuinely surprise you.
Yeah.
Because it is essentially just three things.
Okay, lay it on me.
First, you have the hypochlorous acid molecule itself. That's the active part. Second, you have purified water, which just dilutes the solution to, make it safe for application.
Right, water, making it not alien blood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And third, you have sodium chloride.
Wait, sodium chloride? That's literally just table salt.
Just salt, yeah.
You're kidding?
No, it acts as a stabilizer in this specific formulation, just to ensure the solution doesn't lose its potency too quickly while it's sitting on the shelf.
Yeah.
So you literally have water, salt, and the HOCl molecule.
Okay, let's unpack this, because this is where I need you to connect the dots for me. A mixture of water, salt, and a single acid molecule sounds like a recipe for, I don't know, a mild throat gargle.
Right. It sounds too simple.
Yeah. How does something that elemental defeat something as notoriously stubborn and, frankly, contagious as norovirus? The source material says it relies on, let me check the quote, strong oxidative properties.
Strong oxidative properties, yes.
Which is a great phrase for a chemistry textbook, but what does that actually mean in practice for you and me?
Let's break down oxidation, because it is the fundamental mechanism here. Before we can use it, we have to understand how it defeats the virus. So norovirus has this protective structure around it.
Like a shell?
Exactly. Think of it like a microscopic brick wall made of viral proteins. And that wall protects the infectious genetic material inside while the virus just, sits on a doorknob waiting for someone to touch it.
Gross, but yes.
Right. Now, oxidation is essentially the chemical process of stealing electrons.
Wait, stealing electrons, so the acid is chemically pulling electrons away from the virus itself?
Yes, aggressively. The atoms that make up those viral proteins, the bricks in the wall, they're held together by shared electrons.
Okay, I'm with you.
So when hypochlorous acid comes into contact with the virus, it is desperately seeking electrons, and it just steals them right out of the virus's structural proteins.
So it's basically a molecular lockpicker.
That's a great way to put it. If the virus's protective shell is a brick wall, oxidation doesn't just push the wall over, it chemically dissolves the mortar holding the bricks together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, once those electrons are stripped away, the molecular bonds break, the proteins unfold, and the entire structure of the virus simply collapses in on itself.
So the virus isn't just like washed away or moved from the counter to your paper towel. Its physical armor is chemically dismantled so it can no longer infect anyone?
It is completely inactivated. The pathogen is completely disarmed at the molecular level.
That is wild.
It is. And we have the hard data to back up how efficient this electron stealing process is, too.
Okay, what does the data say?
Well, the source text points to a very specific study published in the Journal of Hospital Infection. Researchers tested this exact compound against norovirus.
Oh.
They found that a concentration of just 200 parts per million, or ppm, of hypochlorous acid reduced the presence of the virus by 99.9%
In how long?
in just 10 minutes of exposure.
Total structural annihilation of the virus in 10 minutes,
Yeah.
using water, salt, and an electron-stealing acid.
Pretty much, yeah.
That is just incredible. But let's talk about those 10 minutes for a second, because there seems to be a very specific art to the actual application of this stuff.
Yes, you can't just use it like a normal cleaner.
Right, because people, we are generally used to the spray and immediately wipe method. You spray the kitchen counter, you wipe it with a paper towel right away.
And that's where the protocol for hypochlorous acid requires a slight adjustment to our habits. It is a strict two-step process.
Okay, what's step one?
Step 1 requires you to spray the solution directly onto the contaminated surface, making sure it is thoroughly covered. And then you have to leave it alone.
Just leave it.
Yes, you must let it sit for a crucial 5 to 10 minutes.
And step two?
Step 2 is coming back after that dwell time has passed and then wiping the surface clean with a cloth.
Okay, wait. I have to play the proxy for the listener here. Leaving a puddle of liquid on my expensive laptop keyboard or like my delicate wood countertops for 10 minutes, that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
I get that fear, I really do.
Because, I have ruined finishes with standard commercial cleaners in half that time. Leaving liquid acid sitting on electronics sounds like a massive mistake.
Well, that anxiety makes complete sense based on our experience with things like bleach or ammonia, which, as we know, are highly corrosive to materials over time.
Very corrosive, yeah.
But hypochlorous acid simply does not behave that way. The text explicitly points out that it is entirely safe for sensitive surfaces,
Including
electronics, fabrics, and sealed wood. It causes zero corrosion and zero discoloration.
Wait, really? Zero?
Zero. You can let it sit on that keyboard for the full 10 minutes to dissolve the viral mortar and then wipe it away without any fear of degrading the plastic or the metal beneath it.
Okay, that is a huge relief for the surfaces in my house. But what about human skin?
Skin is a totally different story, but in a good way.
Because if I'm using this during an outbreak, to sanitize my hands constantly, won't leaving an acid on my skin dry my hands out until the knuckles literally crack?
It's a logical assumption.
Right, because alcohol-based hand sanitizers do that after just like 3 or 4 uses.
And that is exactly where HOCl differs. The reaction with human skin is perhaps the most fascinating aspect of the Era Organics article.
How so?
Well, alcohol-based sanitizers work by essentially flashing off and stripping away the natural oils and moisture from your skin barrier.
Which is why your hands crack and bleed in the winter.
Exactly. Hypochlorous acid, however, actually moisturizes and protects the skin.
Wait, it moisturizes an acid?
Yes, because it is a water-based solution that specifically targets the proteins of pathogens rather than indiscriminately stripping lipids from human skin cells. It kills the viruses without causing any irritation whatsoever.
So it aggressively dismantles the structural integrity of a virus, but it just, leaves the structural integrity of my skin barrier completely alone?
Completely alone. It's safe.
Yeah.
That is why it's heavily utilized in environments where people have to sanitize their hands constantly, like hospitals or food processing facilities.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, it maintains hydration while managing the microbial load.
Okay, let me ask you about the concentration levels then, because what's fascinating here is the dosage. We mentioned the 200 parts per million, or ppm, from that hospital study earlier.
Yes, the 200 ppm standard.
Right. But if this stuff is so incredibly safe for human skin and so safe for delicate laptops, why wouldn't we just manufacture it at, 500 or 1,000 ppm and use a massively concentrated version all the time?
Just nuke the germs to be absolutely safe.
Exactly. Just wipe them out entirely.
That is a very common impulse. The idea that if a little is good, a massive amount must be better. But it comes down to optimizing efficacy against resource management.
So we don't need that much for everyday stuff.
Right. 200 ppm is the recognized Goldilocks standard for routine, everyday disinfection. If you are just wiping down a cutting board after making dinner or doing a daily bathroom wipe down, 200 ppm provides more than enough oxidative power.
It handles the normal daily pathogens.
Yeah. Exactly. Using a much higher concentration for daily tasks is essentially overkill. It requires more raw product to manufacture without actually offering a meaningful increase in safety for a standard environment.
So you just keep the heavy artillery in reserve for when you really need it?
Precisely. The recommendation in the text for a 500 ppm concentration is specifically for heavy contamination events.
Like the norovirus outbreak.
Right. If you are dealing with an active norovirus outbreak in your house or, you're cleaning up vomit, the viral load in that specific area is astronomically high.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That is when you need the 500 ppm. It delivers the rapid, powerful pathogen control required to break down a massive amount of viral material quickly.
Okay, so 200 ppm is the daily driver, and 500 ppm is the heavy-duty emergency response unit.
That's a good way to remember it.
But I did notice a catch in the text, a caveat regarding what happens after those 10 minutes are up.
Yeah, the limitation.
Yes.
Because once I wipe the surface dry,
Yeah.
am I protected for the rest of the week? Like, is there a lingering shield? No. Emphatically no. That is a crucial limitation you have to understand. Hypochlorous acid is a highly effective, immediate tactical weapon, but it is not a long-term passive shield.
So no residual protection.
None. It does not leave an antimicrobial film or residue behind once it evaporates or is wiped away.
Meaning, the moment the cutting board is dry, it is literally just a regular cutting board again.
Yes. Its effectiveness is entirely based on contact and the immediate chemical reaction of oxidation.
So if someone with norovirus comes along and touches that newly cleaned doorknob 5 minutes after you wiped it dry...
The surface is instantly recontaminated.
Wow, okay.
To truly manage the environment during an outbreak, you still have to practice good overall hygiene, you have to manage moisture, and you need to ensure proper ventilation in the room.
So you still have to put in the work.
Right. Environmental factors play a huge role in how long a virus can persist in the air or on a surface.
That makes total sense. It's a tool for active removal, not a magical force field.
Exactly.
Which honestly brings us to the danger zone.
The danger zone.
Yeah, because if we are talking about a liquid that is essentially just water, salt, and a non-corrosive acid that actively moisturizes skin, it sounds almost foolproof. But I know human nature.
Oh, absolutely. We like to tinker.
We do. When people are panicked about a severe stomach bug running through their house, they start mixing things under the sink.
Yes, they do.
So if I want to create the ultimate unstoppable super cleaner, what happens if I take this hypochlorous acid and just mix it in a bucket with my regular bathroom bleach or an ammonia-based floor cleaner?
Okay, I need to be incredibly stern here. You are stepping into very dangerous territory.
I figured.
Under absolutely no circumstances should you ever mix hypochlorous acid with bleach, ammonia, or any other strong chemical cleaners.
So it's a big no?
The source material contains a very explicit warning about this.
What actually happens at a chemical level if someone pours them into the same bucket? Like, does it explode?
It doesn't explode, but you trigger a highly volatile and dangerous chemical reaction. Remember, hypochlorous acid is a potent oxidizer.
Right, the electron stealer.
Exactly. When it interacts with the chemical compounds in bleach, it causes a rapid release of toxic chlorine gas.
Whoa! Toxic chlorine gas.
Yes.
That is a severe respiratory hazard.
Very severe. Breathing in chlorine gas can cause immediate and lasting damage to your lungs and your entire respiratory tract.
That's terrifying.
It is. Furthermore, mixing the chemicals completely neutralizes the effectiveness of the disinfectant itself.
Oh, so it wouldn't even work anymore.
Exactly. You don't create a super cleaner, you literally just create a toxic hazard that doesn't even kill the virus you were trying to eliminate in the first place.
So if I can use an analogy here, it's a solo artist. It does not play well in a band with other harsh chemicals.
I love that analogy. It is absolutely a solo artist.
You just have to let it take the stage completely by itself.
That is perfectly stated. If you feel the need to use it alongside other cleaning products, you have to use a layered, sequential approach, never a simultaneous one.
What does a sequential approach look like?
Well, for example, if a surface is visibly covered in dirt or grime, you can clean it first with a standard non-reactive soap or detergent to remove the physical debris.
Okay, soap and water first.
Right. Then, you wipe all of that soap away completely with clean water.
So the stage is cleared.
Exactly. Then, as the final step, you bring in the hypochlorous acid to act as the solo artist and deactivate the remaining invisible pathogens.
Okay, keep the solo artist on its own stage. Got it. Now, beyond mixing it with other chemicals, is there any other, environmental kryptonite we need to be aware of?
There is one major vulnerability from the text, and it involves how you store it. Hypochlorous acid naturally degrades when it is exposed to ultraviolet light and ambient air.
UV light. So wait, if I buy a clear plastic spray bottle of this stuff and I just leave it sitting on a sunny windowsill in my kitchen.
The sunlight is actually going to destroy it, yes.
Just from sitting in the sun.
Yep. The UV radiation destabilizes the molecule.
Hmm.
Over time, that incredibly powerful oxidizer will literally revert back into slightly salty water.
Oh, wow. So if you try to use it during an emergency a month later, you're literally just spraying water on a virus.
Exactly. You'd have zero protection. And this is why the text strongly emphasizes the necessity of buying high-stability formulations.
High stability.
Yes, manufacturers have to carefully balance the chemistry and, crucially, package it in opaque, light-blocking bottles.
Ah, so the bottle color matters.
Huge difference. It ensures that the solution actually retains its antimicrobial effectiveness while it's just sitting on a shelf waiting for you to need it.
Okay, that is a fantastic, highly practical storage tip. Keep it out of the sun, buy the opaque bottles, and let it work solo.
That's the formula for success.
Perfect. Now, here's where it gets really interesting to me. I want to transition to the second half of the source material.
The multiverse of uses.
Yes, because if this substance is as versatile as we've established, if it's powerful enough to dissolve the molecular mortar of a stomach bug, but gentle enough to actively moisturize human skin, there must be applications for this solo artist far beyond just wiping down a kitchen counter.
Oh, the diversity of its applications across completely different industries is staggering. We're seeing it adopted in fields that seem to have absolutely nothing in common.
Okay, well, walk me through some of the human health applications first, because if it doesn't trigger an inflammatory response on the skin, it seems like dermatologists would be all over this.
They absolutely are. In dermatology, doctors are actively applying hypochlorous acid to manage chronic inflammatory skin conditions. Things like acne, eczema, and rosacea.
Wait, eczema. With eczema, the skin barrier is already so compromised and highly irritated. I mean, pouring a traditional antibacterial wash on that usually stings terribly and causes massive flare-ups.
Which is exactly why HOCl is so revolutionary there. It safely clears the bacterial load on the skin that might be exacerbating the eczema, but because it doesn't strip lipids or irritate healthy cells, it doesn't trigger the body's pain or inflammatory response.
That's amazing.
It really is. It battles the pathogen while actually soothing the compromised tissue, and we see the exact same logic in ophthalmology.
Eye doctor.
Yes, eye doctors are incorporating it into eyelid cleansers to treat conditions like blepharitis.
Wait, they put it near the eye?
Right on the eyelid,
Yeah.
safely reducing bacteria on some of the incredibly delicate tissue of the human body. And emergency medicine doctors even use it to irrigate severe burn wounds.
To irrigate burns?
Yeah, to prevent infection without damaging the sensitive, newly forming tissue.
Wow. Spraying the exact same active ingredient into an open burn wound that you spray onto a kitchen cutting board, that really cements the safety profile for me.
It's hard to believe until you understand the science.
And the text mentions it scales way beyond human medicine too, right? Into animal health and even macro-scale infrastructure.
It does scale massively. In animal health, veterinarians use it to clean pet hotspots and disinfect clinics.
Oh, so they don't have to worry about toxic exposure to the dogs and cats walking on the floor.
Exactly. But the agricultural implications are even bigger. Farmers are actually spraying hypochlorous acid directly onto vast fields of crops.
Like out of crop dusters?
Yes. It protects the plants from pathogens and reduces microbial contamination, ensuring a healthier yield. But crucially, because it degrades naturally back into simple elements.
The water and salt.
Right. Because it degrades, it leaves absolutely zero toxic chemical residue on the food that eventually makes it to the grocery store.
And no toxic runoff, meaning you don't have to worry about poisoning the local water table just to keep the crops healthy.
Exactly. And speaking of water, it is used heavily in aquaculture now.
Fish farms.
Yep, fish farms. They pump it directly into the water to control harmful bacteria and prevent disease outbreaks among the fish, and it does it without harming the marine ecosystem.
Because it just reverts to salt water anyway.
Precisely. And on the absolute largest scale, municipal wastewater treatment facilities are employing massive amounts of hypochlorous acid to reduce microbial loads and enhance water safety for entire cities.
So wait, let me get this straight. We are talking about a single substance that is currently cleaning our city drinking water, treating human eye infections, saving our food crops, and neutralizing stomach bugs in our home bathrooms.
Yes, all of the above.
The sheer scale of that is difficult to wrap your head around.
I know, but if we connect this to the bigger picture, it really highlights a profound elegance in this approach to problem solving.
How do you mean?
Well, think about it. For the last century, human engineering has tried to invent 1,000 different complex, toxic, unpronounceable chemicals to solve 1,000 different biological problems.
Right, a specific poison for every specific problem.
Exactly. But here we have a single elemental compound, just water, salt, and electron-stealing acid. And it scales from a microscopic pore on a patient's face all the way up to a municipal water grid.
It's like the ultimate Swiss Army knife.
It adapts to the environment it's in. It neutralizes the microscopic threats while preserving the fundamental integrity of the host. And it doesn't matter whether that host is a human being, an agricultural crop, or an entire marine ecosystem.
That is just phenomenal. Okay, let's bring all of this together for everyone listening. We started this deep dive looking for a way to fight off the ultimate household villain, norovirus, without resorting to basically chemical warfare in our kitchens.
It was a very worthy goal.
You're right. And we found out that a simple 3-ingredient mixture can chemically dismantle the virus by literally dissolving the atomic mortar that holds its protective shell together.
The electron thief.
Yes. We learned the crucial protocol. You have to spray it, give it a full 5 to 10 minutes to do its job, and only then wipe it away.
Don't forget, no long-lasting shield.
Right, no residual shield.
Right.
But we also discovered that it won't ruin your delicate surfaces. It will actually moisturize your hands, and it's being trusted by everyone from dermatologists to municipal water engineers.
It's quite the resume.
Truly. Just remember the golden rules from the text. Keep it in an opaque bottle out of the sun. Use the 200 ppm for your daily cleaning and 500 ppm for the major disasters. And whatever you do,
Never mix it with bleach or ammonia.
never mix it. Let the solo artist have the stage entirely to itself.
It is a genuinely remarkable tool. And, looking at all the evidence from the Aero Organics article, it actually leaves me with a final thought for you to mull over today.
Oh, lay it on us?
We have seen how highly effective and entirely eco-friendly hypochlorous acid is, and how it is actively replacing complex chemicals across all these global industries, right?
Yeah, from fish farms to human eyelids.
It raises an intriguing question.
Yeah.
Are we rapidly approaching a cultural and scientific tipping point?
A tipping point? Like how?
Well, 10 or 20 years from now, will the harsh, toxic household cleaners we all grew up with, the ones that burn our lungs, require thick rubber gloves, and poison our waterways, will they be viewed as obsolete, dangerous relics of the past?
Oh, wow. That's a fascinating perspective.
I mean, think about it. Will we eventually look back on spraying corrosive bleach onto our kitchen counters the exact same way we now look back on painting our living room walls with lead?
The idea that the hazmat suit approach to cleaning your house might soon literally belong in a museum is an incredible thought.
It really puts things into perspective.
It does. You don't need the toxic warfare anymore. You just need a little water, a little salt, and a chemical reaction that steals a few electrons.
Well, that is all for today. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.